Roundabouts and Firewood, a mental health approach for Irish guys. Who's going to carry the boats and the logs? David Goggins. Part 3, Take Action. Chapter 30, FIBIFY Toolkit Part 1, The Art of War. Fuck it before it fucks you. The question is how? A good friend of mine, a man born and bred in Derry, read the first iteration of the book you are now reading, and a few years later he mentioned that everyone needs their own FIBIFY toolkit. Those things you can go to when you're doing battle with that monster in your head. Ultimately, everyone's FIBIFY toolkit will be different as everyone will have an individualized approach. That said, I think there are some indispensable tools everyone should have. One such tool is a big idea from a book written 2,500 years ago, The Art of War. The Art of War was written by Sun Tzu, a Chinese military strategist who lived from 544 to 496 BCE. As a book, it's a mere 32 pages, divided into 13 chapters. In each chapter, there are a series of specific recommendations and general strategies that are normally a sentence or two in length. They provide a game plan to defeat an enemy. Your enemy is anxiety, depression, or a combination of the two. From here on out, I will refer to it as the A&D Monster. There are many must-dos when going to battle, according to Sun Tzu. For example, if you find yourself in a salt marsh, if forced to fight in a salt marsh, you should have water and grass near you and get your back to a clump of trees, or need to choose between higher or lower ground. All armies prefer high ground to low and sunny places to dark, or have to decide when to attack when a river crossing is involved. When an invading force crosses a river in its onward march, do not advance to meet it in midstream. It will be best to let half the army get across and then deliver your attack. You are battling mental problems, not a military unit coming over to take over your town. So you might ask, what do these recommendations have to do with my fight against the enemy in my head that is ruining my life? They are all examples of one of the biggest ideas in the book, an idea that I consider the biggest idea in the book. Always put yourself in the strongest position to win. It seems like a simple, logical thing to do, but it's likely you don't do this or you don't do it enough. You know the enemy is out there lurking and ready to pounce. Throughout the art of war, Sun Tzu's consistent message is that there is always the strongest position, the position with the fewest vulnerabilities. The A&D monster can win and get stronger if you are vulnerable, if you are in a weaker position. Or it can be beaten, made smaller, and eventually conquered. It's coming for you, and you must be prepared to meet it. The art of war teaches us to rely not on the likelihood of the enemy's not coming, but on our own readiness to receive him, not on the chance of his not attacking, but rather on the fact we have made our position unassailable. Choosing the strongest position each day. Each day the A&D monster is going to get stronger or weaker, depending on what you do. If you do the right things, you weaken it and eventually take it down so it no longer disrupts your life. It starts by putting yourself in the strongest position. Let me give you an example. The most difficult days of the week in Ireland for me were the working non-paid days. I had days I didn't go to schools, but had to work on getting more schools lined up. On these occasions, the A&D monster was certain to show up looking for ways to make my life hell. Whether or not this happened depended on the position I put myself in. My strongest position. 1. Get up and write down goals for the day. 2. Address any anxiety issues on a daily log and write down the number of victories I intend to achieve. 3. Eat a high-protein breakfast, preferably steak. 4. Send confirmation emails to principals at the schools where I will be working in the next week. 5. Write, print, and put 100 letters of introduction into envelopes. 6. Go for a 5K jog. 7. Look up addresses for each school. 8. Write names and addresses on each envelope. 9. Walk to post office and post letters. 10. Work on FIBIFY book. 11. Chat with Kian when he gets home and then go eat with him. 12. Play 1 or 2 matches of tennis. 13. Chat with fellas after tennis. 14. Have evening chat with Kian. 15. Read. 16. Review the day in terms of anxiety victories. 17. Get a good night's sleep. When the A&D Monster showed up on these days, and it did, I was ready to kick some ass with some of the tools I'll mention in the subsequent chapters. I had accomplished simple, mundane tasks. I had eaten so my glucose levels stayed up and gave me physical energy. I had exercise which made my body and mind feel good. I had participated in the social world by hanging out with Kian and my friends. By doing all of this, I had put myself in the strongest position to win that day's battle. My weakest position. 1. Get up, go to the couch, and find something on YouTube to watch. 2. Don't eat. 3. Lower the minimum amount of schools that I thought I should contact. 4. Rationalize that I need a good rest and choose not to exercise. 5. Write, print, and put 30 letters of introduction into envelopes. 6. Look up addresses for each school. 7. Write names and addresses on each envelope. 8. Choose to post the letters the following day. 9. Chat long enough to Kian, thinking I'm fooling him that I'm doing okay. 10. Eat a bowl of oatmeal or 2 to stave off hunger. 11. Fall asleep on couch. On these days, my defenses were down and the A&D Monster wrapped its web around me, and when I tried to respond to its attacks, I was weak, ineffectual, and it got the better of me. Every day you have the choice to put yourself in the strongest position. What is your strongest position? The specifics will depend on you, but it's imperative that you have structure, goals, and stay in motion. Chapter 31, FIBIFY Toolkit number 2, Why Assholes Don't Commit Suicide. Purpose. It's been my experience that assholes don't commit suicide. To be clear, I don't want them to commit suicide, nor do I want them to suffer. I think it would be better if they stopped being assholes, but that's a subject for another book. I have a theory why they don't take their own lives. Every day they wake up and have a specific purpose. Be an asshole. What lesson can we learn from this group of people? You need to have a purpose. Viktor Frankl was a psychotherapist who survived Nazi concentration camps, meaning this was a guy who personally suffered and observed others suffering under some of the worst conditions imaginable. After he was liberated from the camps, he wrote a book about his experience, Man's Search for Meaning. Here he describes why some prisoners were able to persevere and why others couldn't. He concluded that the key to survival is a purpose. As we said before, any attempt to restore a man's inner strength in the camp had first to succeed in showing him some future goal. Nietzsche's words, "He who has a why to live for," can bear with almost any how. One of the keys to improving your mental health is to have a purpose, a reason to get up and put yourself in the strongest position so that you are prepared to do battle with the A&D Monster. Obviously, mine was Kian. If you don't have children, or they are currently obnoxious teenagers, you'll have to look elsewhere for your purpose. It can be your mom or dad, your spouse, your friend, your neighbor, your dog, your community organization, your church, your personal faith, any type of project, your future ideal self, or a crazy dream that you are writing something that might help some guys that live on an island that is divided into 32 counties. Give yourself over to a purpose and you'll find the will to take the action that is needed. As Viktor Frankl, a man who survived Auschwitz and Dachau, explains, it's always about action. We needed to stop asking about the meaning of life and instead to think of ourselves as those who were being questioned by life, daily and hourly. Our answer must consist not in talk and meditation, but in the right action and right conduct.